Hey, what is up, guys? It is August 25th, 2017. My name is J1 Pack, and we are one day away from this massive fight, possibly, that some even call the fight of our lifetime, possibly the biggest fight of all time. Thank you for everyone who's listening in, and as I promised in my reaction video to John Jones testing positive a few nights ago, I'll be doing more uploads. With that being said, I can't believe that this historic fight is just one night away, guys. It is actually going down. Put all the talk, the hype, and the drama behind us at this point. It's going down tomorrow night. So today, because of this historic event, I thought I would be breaking it down, the boxing fight, the Floyd Mayweather versus Conor McGregor boxing fight exclusively on this first episode of the Talker's Chance podcast. So obviously, since this fight has been announced, many things have happened. You guys all know that. Many things were said in between the announcement and the fight between the two fighters. So let's start from the beginning, which is really the world tour. That's when it all began. Things were announced, and then they went on this massive world tour, 4 nights, or 4 days, I'd rather say, in 4 cities: Los Angeles, Toronto, Brooklyn, and London. So let's break these down one by one, and let's kind of score it like it would be scored in a boxing match. So final look at this matchup, final look at this breakdown. So who won the mental battle? That's the first question that comes to mind. And like I said, let's look at the press tours. We're gonna look at the first stop, Los Angeles. You can't not give it to Floyd at Los Angeles. I mean, in my opinion, Conor really didn't know what he was doing. He wasn't aware, as I heard, that they were going to be doing the setup that they were doing, like one person talks at a time. So Conor McGregor didn't have any speech ready. I thought he still did a fine job giving a speech, given the short notice. But Floyd Mayweather took it in this one. He really took it. I mean, he knew what was gonna happen. He came out. He won the verbal battle. I thought Floyd won this one pretty easily. And I'm gonna score this 10-9 Floyd. And then we move to Toronto. Now that Conor knows and is aware of actually what's happening, he came out guns blazing, and he really fired some harsh words at Floyd in this second day of the press tour at Toronto. And man, I really feel like Conor kind of destroyed Floyd in this. That second day was kind of brutal for Floyd. I mean, he took a lot of insults, and some insults that were really, really personal as well. I mean, just straight up going up to him and telling him that he can't read. Some people may call that an act of savage, but it was a quite brutal beatdown of words by Conor McGregor, in my opinion. So at Toronto, I'm going to give Conor a 10-8. I mean, Floyd really didn't say much except for him doing his thing, which I understand. I mean, it's not, he didn't do it bad. It's just that Conor did pretty amazing here. I mean, right off the bat, he said that this mic work and just threw away the other mic. I mean, it was quite hilarious to watch this whole thing play out. I thought Conor did a phenomenal job in the second day, and yeah, I gave it to him 10-8. And then we moved to Brooklyn, and this one was probably the least exciting one out of all 4. I think everybody can agree on that, really. This was a pretty uneventful. I mean, listen, things got delayed in this. Fighters arrived late, and it was just delayed, and the fans were annoyed, and they were expecting a good press conference, and it just didn't turn out the way they wanted to. They even received some boos, and it was really a tough one to score, this one. I thought, I was kind of leaning towards tie at first, but then I remember that moment when Floyd just made it rain on Conor. I'm sure many of you do as well, when Floyd just flat out took $1 bills and made it rain on Conor. I thought that was a very, very iconic moment, and just because of that, I kind of gave it to Floyd in this one, 10-9. I thought Floyd won it, um, although it was quite even if we're just talking about the speeches. But I mean, like like Chael said, it's about who makes more headlines. Floyd made headlines, and I gave it to him. And then we go to London, which is obviously the closest city to Conor McGregor's home, Ireland. Um, and the crowd reaction was quite amazing in this one. It was really, really phenomenal what he was able to attract out of the fans. It was really, really cool to watch. And he brought it on this one. He brought it. I felt like he really did his best in this one as well. Not as good as Toronto, but he put on quite a show, and he even rubbed Floyd's head there a little bit, and that could have. I'm quite glad that didn't lead to any further trouble. But it was. I think Conor took it, so I give it to Conor, 10-9. I mean, Floyd had his fair share of words, but the thing about Floyd in these press tours is that he's very, very repetitive. He does the same thing. He opens the speeches up every single time with the same thing, and that's where I kind of thought he lost. He lost on the creativity part. See, Conor brings different, you know, different words every time, and I think that's what really makes him one of the best mental warfare guys ever. I think that's really what makes him who he is his creativity with words, and that's what really gets us going. It's what gets the fans really excited. I think in this press tour he was no different. He did his thing, and I really thought he did well. He did well for the first time doing this kind of stuff. Obviously he's not new to the trash talking game, but he really did well, I feel. So props to him. Let's move down and let's now talk about the advantages for each fighter. I mean, the advantages for Floyd is quite, it's quite obvious. I mean, let's just lay it out there. He's 49-0. He's arguably the greatest defensive fighter of all time. He has a lot more experience than Conor, and I'm telling you, that's going to play a big part in this fight, I feel. He's going to really use that experience. He knows what he's doing in there. And Conor may not necessarily know what he's doing. So, and, I really don't know who's going to have the speed or power advantage, just because we've never seen Conor fight in a boxing ring. So I think that's going to be quite questionable. Although I kind of feel like Floyd's going to have the speed edge. I mean, he's been doing this for how many years? 21 years. He repeats it over and over again. And I think he deserves credit for what he's done. And I absolutely think that he really did his, he always does his thing out there, man. And yeah, he's been off for 2 years. He's, not been active. He's coming back from retirement. But, I mean, you guys see his training videos. It's unbelievable. The guy's still in great shape. He trains like a pro. So, I really do think he's going to have a speed advantage. I'm not sure about the power advantage. I would probably have to give that to Conor just because he's a bigger fighter and a younger fighter. But I guess we're going to find out tomorrow night. And the last advantage, in my opinion, that Floyd had is that he's fighting a quote-unquote novice. Conor McGregor is considered a novice in the boxing world. He has never boxed before professionally in his life. So, in the world of pro boxing, I do feel like he certainly is labeled as a novice, and for good reasons as well. Whether he's gonna fight like a novice, we don't know. And we're gonna have to really see that and watch for that tomorrow night. But it's fair to label him a novice at this point. for the fight, just because he's never done anything really. So those are the advantages for Floyd that I listed out. 5 advantages for Floyd. Once again, 49-0, pro boxer. He's got the experience. He's arguably the greatest defensive fighter of all time. He most likely, in my opinion, will have the speed advantage, and he's fighting a novice. And let's move on to the advantages for Conor. These are pretty clearly laid out for most of you. I mean, he's a bigger man. If you look at the size comparison on paper, Conor is 5'9". He has a 74-inch reach, and he's probably going to weigh a lot more than Floyd on fight night. Floyd is 5'8" with 72-inch reach. So Conor is the bigger man. And the thing we have to really realize about Conor is that he fights a lot longer than what he really is. He's 74. He has 74-inch reach, but he fights a lot longer than that, and that's what really allowed him to have some success in MMA as well. Yeah, he covers the distance very well. He keeps the distance away from guys as well. I mean, yeah, his distance control is phenomenal, and I think that's gonna be, I think he could surprise Floyd with that. I think, that's definitely one of his strengths, and size in general. Conor has a size advantage. I'm not sure how much heavier he's gonna be come fight night, but it is quite clear he's going to be heavier by somewhere around 20 pounds maximum. He's definitely going to be heavier than him by at least 10 pounds, I feel. So that's a big advantage for him. And then, obviously, the second thing is age. I mean, how can you forget about that? Floyd's 40 years old. And when you're at that age, you tend to decline. Your skills tend to decline. So I think Conor's in the prime of his career at 29 years of age, just turned 29 during on the day of London press conference that they had. So that's definitely a huge advantage for him. Age. I mean, that's 11 years apart. That is big, guys. We can't forget about that. I don't care how new Conor is to the game. Age. I mean, the one thing that I really kind of was shocked by was when Matt Mitrione knocked out Fedor at UFC, or not UFC, Bellator, when they were at New York City for the first time. And just watching Fedor get knocked out like that was really a reminder, in my opinion, that, age catches up to anybody. I mean, age really does catch up to any athlete. Even somebody as elite as Fedor, who has been at the top for so long. I mean, he's 40. So he's the same age as Floyd. And to see him go down like that was, it was a big reminder, at least to me. So, age is big. And the third thing is activity. Floyd's been off for 2 years. How is that going to play factor? We don't know. I mean, Conor's been very, very active. He just won his second UFC world title last November in Madison Square Garden against Eddie Alvarez. So, I think activity really matters a lot too. I mean, it is extremely hard for a pro athlete to lay off 1 year and come back and perform the same way that he used to. It is extremely difficult to have that layoff. It's one of the reasons why we call Muhammad Ali the best, one of the best, because he was suspended for 3 years. He came back and still became the champion. And just have to give credit to that. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen normally. And only a guy at the caliber of Ali was able to pull that off, I feel like. And Floyd, he's doing it at the age of 40. So, 2-year layoff, 40 years old. Conor's got some things going for him here. And the fourth thing is how unorthodox Conor is. I think this is actually something he can use to his advantage. Just because he brings stuff that has never really been seen by the boxing world. I mean, Floyd is a phenomenal boxer, but let's be honest, he's never seen anything as awkward as Conor. And Conor's gonna bring a lot of new looks to the octagon. You know, he even said it himself that he's gonna paint new pictures in there that Floyd's never seen before. And I tend to believe that. I tend to believe that he's going to really bring some new looks that's going to at least confuse Floyd for a little bit. You know, I'm not saying that Floyd's gonna not figure him out for the rest of the fight, but I feel like Conor's gonna bring some stuff Floyd's not gonna really know how to deal with, at least for a little bit. And I think that definitely has to be counted as a X factor for Conor. And the last thing is confidence. I mean, no doubt Floyd has confidence as well, but man, Conor's confidence is it's just on another level. He really has this belief in himself that he can knock Floyd Mayweather out, and that I don't really see. I don't think that's delusion. I think that's confidence. I think that's extreme and supreme confidence that he's gained from making things work so far in his career. I mean, he said he was gonna do a lot of things, and he actually did most of them. The only time I really didn't see him come through with his predictions is when he lost Nate Diaz. That's the only really time that he's completely failed to come through with his prediction. Any other time he came out on top. So his confidence is just, it is unbelievable how much confidence he has. And you know, Floyd has confidence as well. I mean, why shouldn't he have confidence? He's 49-0, you know, hasn't lost in 21 years. So why shouldn't he be confident? Of course he's confident. But this guy Conor McGregor, his belief in himself is just different from everybody else. And I think he already has the visualization of what's going to happen on Saturday, Conor. And I think that comes from his confidence. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how he deals with this whole thing. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on Floyd. So I think Conor's going to, you know, he's a skilled fighter. And I think to not give him a chance at all, like Max Kellerman does, I think it's kind of ridiculous. Conor's been fighting his whole life. I mean, he started out as a boxer. He was an amateur boxing champion. So to give him zero chance, zero is, I think that's really kind of ludicrous. I think you have to give a guy at the caliber of Conor a chance. I mean, there are many things going for him in this fight. And, you know, win or lose, I think he's going to surprise a lot of people tomorrow night. I really do believe that. You know, sure, he may lose. Yeah, there's a good chance he's going to lose. But I think he's going to surprise a lot of people. You know, Max Kellerman is out there saying that he's not going to land a single clean punch. I just found that I can't really say anything about that, really, but I think it's kind of ridiculous. I think Conor's going to land punches, clean punches as well. It may not, you know, be enough to get him to win, but I think he's going to shock a lot of people tomorrow night. So, but ultimately we're going to have to see, you know, and the last thing before we wrap up is, well, second last thing is, let's take a look at some of the pros picks that has been laid out in public for this fight. I mean, listen, everybody really is, you know, picking Floyd. That's a safe bet. I mean, really everybody, even in the UFC, you know, guys like Anderson Silva, just a lot of guys, really. Just so many MMA fighters are not giving him really a chance. Randy Couture has spoken quite against it. I mean, John Jones really hasn't given him much chance. I mean, just a lot of MMA fighters really kind of already picked their side as, Floyd. I mean, a guy like Jose Aldo as well, but how can you really trust what Aldo says after all that he's went through with Conor? So I don't really count his opinion, because there could be certainly some bias in there, but just a lot of MMA guys in general, they already picked Floyd to win. Didn't give Conor much chance. Everyone except for Eddie Alvarez, Demetrius Johnson, Nate Diaz, Tyron Woodley, and Joanna Jędrzejczyk. These are the 5 fighters that have actually picked Conor McGregor to beat Floyd, out of the MMA fighters. And I think I was quite surprised when Eddie Alvarez said that Conor McGregor was going to win. And Alvarez actually gave him a pretty good chance. I mean, Alvarez said, and I quote, Conor has about 3 or 4 rounds to get this done. Within those 4 rounds, if you don't think Conor can knock this guy out, you're an idiot, or you just don't know fighting, because it can very well happen. I think I do agree with Eddie a lot here. There's definitely a good chance that he can catch him. He can. Not saying it will happen, but he can. He can do it. And one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, Demetrius Johnson, has also given him a pretty good chance. Nate Diaz, surprisingly, said that Conor has a chance. Conor has a good chance to make something happen. Tyron Woodley, it turns out that he was really betting for Conor just because of how much money he can, win if there's actually an upset. And Joanna Jędrzejczyk, she's been on Team Conor for quite a while now, so not a surprise there. And I was actually really surprised to see some of the boxers really give Conor a chance as well. I mean, really guys like Shane Mosley, Ricky Hatton, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder. I mean, all these guys have really written Conor off, even Mike Tyson, except for a few boxers. And those boxers include Evander Holyfield. And I think this really means a lot coming from a legendary boxer like Holyfield. Andre Berto has given Conor quite a good chance. And of course, Michael Conlan being Conor's countryman. So I think it was actually quite surprising to see any boxers give Conor a chance. I didn't expect that. I thought really they were going to just write Conor off. But it's kind of good to see that some boxers actually believe in this matchup. Some people actually believe that there's going to be a fight. Not just a spectacle, not just a show, but a fight. And I think that's very important. Especially considering how tough the sales has been, I hear. Sale has not been going as smoothly as they have possibly expected. And I think having these boxers picking Conor really helps out. But then again, ultimately, we're going to have to see tomorrow night. Nobody really knows. Now, before we wrap it off, I'm going to do one last thing, and that is my prediction for this fight. And this is a really tough one. Some people may call it a landslide for Floyd. Some people may call it, some people already think that Conor's going to win, already, quote-unquote, know that Conor's going to win. But let's be honest here, nobody knows anything. This is a fight that's truly hard to give a prediction on, because we don't know how these guys are going to come out and fight. We don't know how Floyd's going to fight. I mean, Floyd has never fought under these circumstances, so we don't know how Floyd's going to approach his fight. And we've never seen Conor, period. We've never seen Conor in a boxing ring, so we don't know how he's going to fight, obviously. He says he's going to come out, and I believe that tends to be true. I think that tends to be the truth. Floyd also said he was going to come out, guns blazing, but I don't know if I really believe that. That's kind of harder to believe when it's coming out of Floyd's mouth than Conor's. But John Kavanagh already gave his prediction. Kavanagh, Conor's head coach, he said if Floyd comes out aggressive, then it's going to be done in 1. And if Floyd comes out hesitant, like he usually does, defensive, then, he's going to be done inside 4. once again, this is a very, very tough pick, and I may receive a lot of hate for this, but I'm going to ultimately go with Conor. I think Conor has more than a good chance. I really believe that. Listen, I may be totally wrong. But at the end of the day, nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen. It's just I guess, some bias is in there. I do like Conor a little bit better than Floyd, but even if I'm just considering just from a fighter's perspective, like just pure non-biased journalist perspective, I do have to kind of give Conor a lot of chance. I think Floyd is. I don't know if Floyd's even motivated for this fight. I don't know. Who knows? I mean, he could be just in it for the money. But then again, so same can be said for Conor. But I do feel like Conor has a little bit more passion in this fight because he has a lot more to prove. Floyd doesn't have much to prove here. Floyd's just trying to ride off into the sunset with 50-0. But then again, if he does that, the questions will be raised. I mean, was that really a legitimate win if he wins? So this isn't going to be back and forth until the fight actually happens. But ultimately, I'm going to give it to Conor. I believe he's going to knock him out in the second round. I think it's going to happen. But on the split side, I really don't want to see that happen. Because if that does happen, it literally kind of means boxing's dead. Literally dead. I mean, who's really going to start watching? Who's really going to watch boxing, period, if the greatest of all time, one of the greatest of all time, loses to an MMA fighter debuting in pro boxing? So I kind of don't want to see that happen, but that's ultimately, that's my kind of prediction for the fight. I think McGregor's going to get it done. But we're going to have to see. Thank you, everyone, if you're listening in once again. I appreciate it. Please leave comments below. I think that really will help me out in the long run. If you agree, disagree, if you give me your thoughts. I want to see what you guys think of this fight and what's gonna happen. And with that being said, I will see you guys later with the episode 2 of Talker's Chance. And guys, have a good day. And enjoy the fights. Enjoy this fight. It's going to be. It really could be a once in a lifetime opportunity for you to, watch something like this. So enjoy the fight. I think it's gonna be a good one. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you.